The Hoka Clifton 10, which is one of the best selling shoes in the Hoka range, and the Arahi 8 are two completely different shoes in terms of how they provide stability, how they feel underfoot, and how they perform. I'm going to break down these differences so you have a better idea of which works best for you. Now if you look at the Clifton 10, it had a complete overhaul compared to the 8 and the 9, so it still has the same CMEVA cushioning, but it feels different underfoot, and it's got an 8mm drop now compared to the 5 that I had previously. So it's a lot softer underfoot, you sink into it a lot more than the previous models, and you've got 42mm of cushioning underneath your heel and 34 underneath your forefoot, and that makes the forefoot incredibly stiff, so you've a lot less flexibility there, but still has this excellent forefoot rocker that helps with the push off phase of the gait cycle. Then in the Arahi 8, it also had a massive overhaul compared to the 6 and the 7. So while it also has the CMEVA cushioning that we see in the Clifton 10, it's not as soft, you don't sink into it as much, and that's partly got to do with the fact that it doesn't have as much padding underneath your foot. So it has 39mm in the rear foot and 31 in the forefoot, so 3mm less overall. It's quite stiff in the forefoot as well, and it's got that excellent forefoot rocker. When we look at the underside of the shoe, they both have relatively good outsole grip, and we've got a slightly broader base in the Hoka Arahi 8 to give you a bit more stability, and it's got bigger sidewalls on the inside and the outside of the shoe. In addition to that, it's got a H-frame built into the midsole, so that's denser foam that runs either side of the midsole, and then a bar across the middle. That provides torsional stability to the shoe, but also focuses on keeping your foot centered in the shoe, so it no longer has that J-frame that we associated with the Arahi models. In contrast to that, with the Clifton 10, we have some sidewalls on the inside and the outside, but they're not as big as what we see on the Arahi 8, and it doesn't have the stability features such as the H-frame or the J-frame. That makes it more of a classic neutral shoe, and when we move up on top of the shoe, we've got a slightly broader toe box in the Clifton 10, so a little bit more space for your toes to display, where we still have a relatively narrow fit in the Hoka Arahi 8, but the good news is it does come in a wide version, as does the Clifton 10. They're both true to size and length, they've got nice padded tongues, and they've got a similar amount of padding around the heel cup. However, the heel canter is different on the Arahi 8, it's really flexible, so it's good if you've got some sensitivity around the back of your heel, whereas we've got a little bit more stiffness and rigidity around the Clifton 10. When it comes to performance and how they feel underfoot, well, the Arahi 8 is very much a mild to moderate stability shoe. The Clifton 10 is a classic neutral shoe. They're quite soft when you're walking around on them, so a little bit firmer underfoot in the Arahi 8, but overall they're relatively comfortable, relatively plush. You don't sink into them as much as you do in the Hoka Gaviota 5, but they're not as firm as the previous models of each of their respective range. When you're standing for long periods of time, the 8mm drop might put extra pressure on your forefoot if you're someone who gets sensitivity around there, but for the majority of the population you won't notice any difference. So they're both excellent lifestyle shoes if you want to use them for walking or for standing for long periods of time. The H-frame in the Arahi 8 and the extra broad base support will just give you an extra added element of stability. When we talk about running, well, the Clifton 9 was known as a workhorse. It could do all different types of runs. However, the Clifton 10 is a little bit heavier, coming in around 272 grams, and the Arahi 8 comes in around 269 grams for a size 9 men's US, so they're no longer built for doing some up-tempo workouts, and that was one of the great things about the Arahi 7. It was a stability shoe that could do some faster workouts. I think the softer cushioning in both of these and the fact that they're a little bit heavier means they're not as good for up-tempo workouts or faster workouts. They're more built for easy workouts, longer runs, some recovery runs. So if you want a shoe that's relatively neutral for those longer, easier runs, you might look towards the Clifton. If you want to do similar runs but have a little bit more stability under your foot, you might look towards the Arahi. So if you've got any questions on them that I've missed out on, please drop in the comment section below. I've got links to both shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest prices. Otherwise, like and share and subscribe, it makes a massive difference if you found the video helpful. Thank you very much for watching.